Okay, so before I go to bed, I have to tell y'all just a little anecdote. I'm personally tickled, probably because I'm a wordsmith. I was a journalism major in undergrad, like 2 decades ago. I'm tickled because there's been a recent smear campaign, if you will, about using Chat GPT. So I got to tell you, I didn't care. I wasn't checking for it. I wasn't pressed out. I didn't care. Whenever it came out, I wasn't hip to it. I've always been like that. I don't never be hip to nothing. I'm always late to the party. And so at one point earlier this year, I was on a dating app. Why do I look yellow? What is happening? Okay, cool. That looks real. Anyway, so I was on a dating app at one point, and this guy, the way he was talking to me, he sounded more emotionally intelligent and responsive or whatever. But there were a few things that I was kind of like, it's almost too perfect. It's too polished. Then I started noticing there's no errors in his typing. Everybody makes mistakes with the keyboard at some point. Like, it was too perfect. We eventually figured out, we confirmed that his responses were Chat GPT responses. When I tried to ask him about it, of course, he tried to dodge and get defensive and stuff. It was more like polished marketing language. Too polished. It's like, dude, you don't have time to just have a conversation with me? Dang. And so, because I told him, I'm like, if we were to really date in real life, you can't just be like, hold on, let me take this and chat it in my chat GPT and figure out how to respond. You have to actually know how to talk to me on a date or whatever. So it just didn't, I'm like, this is weird. No, I just wanted to meet the authentic you. I don't want to meet the marketing polished sales presentation version of you. Anyway, um, ironically, and I mean ironically, that got me started checking it out, trying to see how to use it. And I actually use it now for certain things. It has it's a really helpful if you're okay, like for my curriculum vitae for the PhD application. Some stuff I'm just like, when I think especially when it comes to professional documents and professional emails, it's really good for that kind of stuff. When you just I don't feel like trying to figure out exactly how to say this. Here's a general idea of what I want to say. Can you at least give me a rough draft and then I can work on it from there? It's like, give me the potato salad at the deli. I'll doctor it up when I get home. You feel me? So I will use it that way for professional emails and crap like that. But also, what happened is once I started figuring out how to finagle it, how to work it, and how to communicate with it, like you got to tell it when you want this tone or that tone, this type of language, or like a raw cadence, like just your own self-reflective language. Tell it, like, don't just turn my language into I don't want to sound like a polished marketing person. You have to really communicate with it well. Um, what I will say I have learned overall is the Chat GPT is only as smart as the user. Because I've heard a whole lot of shade and conspiracy theories and all kind of crap. It's not just as smart as the user, but it really is kind of reflecting back to you whatever you feed into it. So if you are a conspiracy theorist, always filling that kind of crap in, it's going to confirm that. Did nobody else grow up watching Small Wonder? It's very much like Amelia Bedelia to a certain degree. Sometimes it's very smart and helpful and will fill in the gaps for you and give you a good rough draft. And sometimes it misses the joke or it misses the nuance because it's not a human with emotional depth. It can only do so much. And you should use it with integrity and use it intelligently with that in mind. I don't understand why everybody's making a big deal. It's always the sheeple, like, oh, the fear mongering, and it's going to do this to you and it's going to do that. No. Why are y'all talking about a freaking bot like it has control over you? You tell it what to do. You should think of it like a personal assistant. I don't understand why y'all be doing too much. It's a dude on here, on the app. He used to say, y'all think too deep about the shallow stuff, and you think too shallow about the deep stuff. Just perversion, be all up in everything. Anyway, what tickled me today was like, I went off on the thing. I was explaining to it, like, sometimes I feel like your language is just too academic and polished and marketing and quite frankly, white, like white academia. I hate that crap. And I was explaining to it that I hate the way that research articles and stuff are written. It drives me crazy. When I do my PhD, my goal is to do community-based participatory research and to write research that is on an open access platform available to people. This has to do with me being a journalism major in undergrad. In undergrad, we learned one of the first things you learn is that the newspaper was written at like a fourth grade reading level. A lot of people were blue collar workers in factories and things, and not much has changed in terms of reading level. It's ideal to write at that level. And so I was complaining about that and what bothers me and how I just want it to be authentic and raw. So I was telling it like, you always say the exact right thing in your chat response. But then when I say, okay, turn it into an email, you go off into performance and all this extra fluff. And then I got to go back and edit it back out. It's like I have to edit the academic polish and the whiteness out of it. I'm like, who freaking programs you to write like this? It's stupid. And it answered, it explained like, because I said, I feel like this software or platform or whatever was created for people who are trying to write fluff, peer-reviewed article, paper, like trying to sound smart in college. And it confirmed that over time, somewhere along the way in history, it no longer was cool or acceptable to just talk regular, clear, concrete, straightforward language. And it became part of academia to double stack sentences and make them superfluous and overcomplicated in order to sound intelligent. I'm disgusted and disturbed and irritated by this. Because why the heck? Because I was fussing. I'm like, it mentioned double stacking sentences that cause you to have to reread. Do you know, I think what pissed me off is realizing that ChatGPT was telling me that this is intentional, that people are intentionally writing research in a way that's supposed to make them look smarter, but you're creating more mental and emotional labor on the reader's brain and intentionally making them have to go back and reread. Stacking sentences is like making a sentence so long and bloated that you can't digest all of the concepts in that sentence. I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. Because I just graduated. When I was doing my my literature review, I can't take these articles seriously. They do seem bloated, just like that. That's exactly the issue. They're bloated with unnecessary extra fluff. It is so irritating. It unnerves the heck out of me, the way that people write their research articles. It'll be good information in there. It's not that the information's invalid. It's that you're making me have to go through so much bureaucratic. It's like dealing with the government on paper. Trying to read somebody's research paper sometimes is like trying to get through systems in the government to get what you need. Get to the point. They're doing this crap on purpose. You so busy trying to look smart that you gonna create more work for my brain? Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking irritated. But seriously, ChatGPT is about as useful as it's as intelligent or discerning or conspiracy theorist or silly, whatever, as the person using it. Everybody's going to get different results. It depends on how you use it. It depends on your heart posture and your mindset when you approach it. Do you know how to communicate what you need for it to communicate back to you? You are plugging in requirements to get what you want out of it. And people really, when they make these goofy posts trying to make it sound like it's such a terrible thing, I'm like, honey, that's an operator error. I think the other reason this like really kind of struck a nerve and amused me and irritated me at the same time is because of the ideas of language I've been meditating on in terms of scripture and Paleolithic languages. What ChatGPT highlighted is something that I've been perceiving or discerning spiritually as well. And I said it in a video just like yesterday, that Greek philosophers and European philosophers and stuff, they came in with all their philosophizing and all this hoity-toity, superfluous, useless, bloated language in order to try to puff themselves up and make themselves sound smarter. And didn't I say the other day that a lot of Pharisees and stuff are like that in the comments? They're like these highly intellectual fools. You're a fool. I don't care how educated you are. All that bloated, puffed up language don't impress me. I need for people to understand, I don't care what kind of intellect and knowledge you got. It ain't no match for the Holy Spirit. And I think that's what irritates me, is realizing that what ChatGPT explained to me actually explains a long historical pattern. But I'm like seriously irritated by colonizers, the way that they the cultural theft. They will hijack other people's culture, and the culture itself was concrete, straightforward, true, genuine, authentic, straightforward communication. The Hebrew language, for example. And what they will do is hijack it and overly intellectualize it and bloat it. And so now I have clearer language to communicate. That is the reason that the Aramaic / Yiddish, the mix of Yiddish script that's called modern Hebrew, unnerves the heck out of me. It took me everything in me, all my little bit of self-control, not to say the word I wanted to say just now, because it irritates my soul that much. Is they hijack things and then call themselves elevating them by just bloating it with fluff, emptiness. And then they determine that their fluffed, puffed up, overly complicated way of wording it makes it now better and smarter. All it does is make it harder to access. That's what literally happens in civilization today. Think about it. Artifacts that they steal from other cultures. They put them in a museum where the culture itself often can't even afford to get in the museum. It makes it harder to access it. They turn language into something that makes it harder to access. They made modern Hebrew, and it's harder to access because it is such a departure from the pictograph itself that you can't even possibly infer, guess, interpolate what the letter might mean. Because why? They overly complicated the modern Hebrew letter system and scrubbed it of the straight, concrete, straightforward communication that it was trying to deliver. The arts and stuff, a lot of the creative things that come from Black and Indigenous people of color, practices like dance and things like that. They take those things, whitewash them, bloat them with a bunch of hoity-toity, highfalutin BS, and then charge out the wazoo for it and make it inaccessible to the people that originated it. Now, you can't get access to it. You can't afford the daggone dance class. I'm annoyed. That's all. I'm annoyed because I saw it on a deeper level. It's everywhere. It's just everywhere. They always just be overcomplicating stuff. Well, for why? Your own people can't even read this article. Nobody wants to read this crap. Who are you trying to look smart to? It's quite literally, it's like this really bloated, extreme version of what I imagine Greek philosophers looked like hundreds of years ago, sitting around pontificating and BSing. I don't understand. It's like a psychosis or something.